Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurumritam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Tadati Swapadantikam Vande Aham Shri Guru Shri Utapadakamlam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijan Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitam Sya He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishavanu Sutta Devi Pranamami Hari Priya Vanchakalpatarubhascha Kripa Sindhu Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Hare Krishna, thank you all for coming. So today we will revise Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Unit 3, which runs from chapter 7, verse 12 onwards till end of chapter 9. So you can see on the screen the first presenter. We don't have a presenter. Anybody spontaneously wants to do the presentation for the first part of chapter 7, verses 12 onwards?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, I can, but if someone else wants to go ahead, I'm also willing to wait.
Nitya, you can go ahead.
Seeking permission from all assembled devotees, Srila Prabhupada Guru Parampara, Sri Sri Radha Krishna, to present Srimad Bhagavatam, chapter 7, verses 12 to 34. Arjuna arrests Ashvatthama today. Please forgive me for any shortcomings. This is a brief summary. Sutta Goswami begins the narration of Srimad Bhagavatam, which begins with the description of the transcendental activities of the Lord and his devotees from the end of the Kurukshetra war. Duryodhana is beaten by Bhishmadev. He is fallen. And at this point, Ashvatthama kills the sleeping sons of Draupadi and brings the head as a prize to please his master. Duryodhana is not at all pleased. He did have a boon that he will leave his body when he is pleased and not pleased. So at this point, Duryodhana, hearing the news, his boon and curse is activated, and he left his body. The Kurukshetra war ended. Draupadi, when she hears the news, is in distress. She is, Draupadi, though a true devotee, is a Kshatriyani, and she's very gentle. Arjuna, when he sees how distressed Draupadi is, vows to behead Ashvatthama and bring his head back and help to console her. So Arjuna leaves on a chariot to follow Ashvatthama. Ashvatthama could see this, could see him coming towards him. He fears for his life and he flees. He realizes that there is no other alternative, so he releases the Brahmastra weapon. Ashvatthama knew how to release the Brahmastra weapon, but he did not know how to retract it. Arjuna could see the blazing fire and the heat coming towards him, and he knew that he was in danger. He turns towards Lord Krishna, and verses 22 to 25 are the first set of prayers, though it's not complete. Verse 22 is a very important verse. It highlights a very key point. When Arjuna is in danger, he turns towards Lord Krishna and he glorifies him first. So he teaches us how to approach Lord Krishna. What is the standard procedure? We need to first offer a humble obeisances and glorify the Lord. Then we need to seek his forgiveness and thank him. We need to ask for spiritual benedictions and again follow with obeisances and glorify the Lord. In the prayers that he presents, Arjuna highlights and glorifies the Lord. A devotee is fearless as he has the protection of the Lord. The material existence is like a blazing forest fire that can be extinguished only by the mercy of the Lord. The Lord in Bhagavad Gita says that no one can overcome Maya unless he surrenders onto his lotus feet. Lord Krishna is light and Maya is darkness. Where there is light, there is no darkness. Out of his causeless mercy, the Lord descends to reclaim the conditioned souls who are in the grip of Maya. Lord is everyone's father and he is equal to all, but he is inclined towards his devotees. Anything presented to the Lord must be done after presentation of respectful prayer. Arjuna asks the Lord, what is causing this blazing effulgence? And Lord Krishna responds that Ashwatthama, fearing for his life, has released the Brahmastra weapon as a last resort. Ashwatthama knew how to release it, but he does not know how to retract it. Lord Krishna advises Arjuna that only another Brahmastra weapon can counteract it. Arjuna touched the water, he circumlates Lord Krishna and he releases another Brahmastra weapon. When both the weapons collide, there was a blazing arc of fire like the sun did, and this affected all the three worlds. The people in the three worlds could feel the heat because it scorched it and reminded everyone of the fire at annihilation. Seeing the distress that it was causing and that destruction was imminent, Arjuna withdraws both the weapons as it is what Lord Krishna desires. Annihilation depends on the will and sanction of the Lord. The laws of nature under his supervision, everything rests on him and destruction occurs only by his will. At this point, Arjuna imprisons Ashwatthama, arrests him, binds him in rope, and decides to take him to his military camp. Thank you.
All right. Very good. Archana.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Hare Krishna everyone. I request permission and blessing from all the assembled devotee, Srila Prabhupada, Guru Parampara, Sri Sri Radha Krishna, to able to speak on the subject matter of Srimad Bhagavatam. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. I'll be presenting Canto 1, Chapter 7. As Nitya Mataji finished till 34, I'll be continuing the rest text. The Chapter 7, the son of Drona punish. Arjuna bound Ashwadhama like an animal and wanted to take him to the military camp. Lord Krishna suggested Arjuna not to take to the camp but kill Ashwadhama. Atataya means the enemy aggressor, unnecessarily one who attack. Ashwadhama is not a brave soldier, so he should be killed. He even not satisfies his master. And he wanted to please Duryodhana that he would kill all the 5 brothers, the Pandavas. But instead of killing Pandava, he killed their son in the sleep. He could not satisfy his master. Whatever he has done, all abominable, which is against the rules and regulation, neither as a Brahman or as a Kshatriya, nor even a brave soldier. He has done things like a Shudra or a less than Shudra, without any religious principle. So he should be killed. There is no excuse, and if it is for his good. In Shastra, it is said that one who is a criminal, he should be killed. Kill this person, it is for his good, because he has done so many criminal activity. So by killing him, he will be saved for a serious type of suffering in the next life. Lord Krishna gave religious principle to not show mercy on Brahmin Bandhu, means who is relative of Brahman and not qualified by quality to be called to. In text 34, Lord Krishna is addressed in the verse Ambuja Iksahana, eyes compared to the lotus flower, even though Krishna is angry, but his eyes are not red. Verse Arjuna's eyes are red at material level, but Arjuna is a pure devotee. Lord Krishna even reminded Arjuna his promise to Draupadi, even who gave a permission to kill the animal, he who sell the slaughter animal, who cook the animal, and he who administered the distribution of the foodstuff. At last, he who eats such cooked animal food are all murderer, and all of them are liable to be punished by the law of nature. Crueler and wicked person who maintained his existence at the cost of other lives deserve to be killed for his own well-being. Otherwise, he will be go down by his own action. So Lord Krishna suggests Arjuna to kill Ashwadhama, who even dissatisfies his own master Duryodhana. But Arjuna refused to kill Ashwadhama. Now here, Lord Krishna is testing Arjuna's sense of duty. Here Krishna encouraged Arjuna outwardly to kill Ashwadhama, just to test Arjuna's sense of duty. Lord Krishna put his pure duty to the test just to magnify their senses, their sense of a duty. And pure duty come out successfully in their test by Lord Mercy and by his sharp intelligence. Gopis and Prahlad Maharaj also put in such test. All pure duty come out successfully in the respective test by the Lord Mercy. Arjuna carried Ashwadhama to the camp where Draupadi was present. In this word, in the text 42, specific word is used for Draupadi. Vama Swabhava, mild and gentle by nature. Now Draupadi, mild and compassionate nature is visible. Even she offered obeisance to Ashwadhama, who was bound with a rope like an animal. Draupadi gave a reason not to kill Ashwadhama. He is a Brahmin and he is a son of your guru, Master Dronacharya. You receive the mantras and martial art, all teaching from Dronacharya. You became famous archer because of Ashwadhama's father, Dronacharya. If the person occasionally mistreat you and you should not go against this person, this is injustice. Injustice, Draupadi giving nyay or a justice argument. She is full of mercy, even though Drona Acharya is dead, but he is alive through his son. Ashwadhama representing father Dronacharya. Killing Ashwadhama means killing Dronacharya. Draupadi say, your Guru family is always respectable and worshipable. She got a compassion towards mother of Ashwadhama, Dronacharya's wife Kripi. Kripi didn't undergo sati because Ashwadhama was alive. In this test, Draupadi is sympathetic. That is the Vaishnava's nature. She is a pure devotee. And this is the attitude of Vaishnava. Vaishnava doesn't care for his own personal distress, but a Vaishnava became aggrieved, distressed when other is suffering. Draupadi is thinking her position and what will be the position of Ashwadhama mother, Kripi. She is also a woman and Draupadi is studying Ashwadhama mother position from her position. Draupadi is very much aggrieved on account of her son being killed. So she's thinking, if Ashwadhama's mother is under the distress of her son being killed, what will be her position? Draupadi is disturbed by thinking of the position of Ashwadhama mother. Draupadi is aggrieved, but she's thinking the grief of Ashwadhama mother more than her. Draupadi is aggrieved on account of her son being killed by Ashwadhama. But now she's feeling more for the mother of Ashwadhama. How Ashwadhama mother would feel if her son is killed. This is the attitude of pure devotee Vaishnavas. In the Vedic law, it is mentioned woman, Brahman, the child, the cow, and the old man, they should be excused. She is making all the glorious statement from the scriptures without showing duplicity in the dharma and showing equality. After listening Draupadi's statement, Maharaj Yudhishthira support her and say, this decision are glorious. Maharaj Yudhishthira is a Dharma Sutta. Maharaj Yudhishthira is not an ordinary person. He is a son of Dharmaraj. And Nakula, Sahadev, and few other also agree for not killing Ashwadhama. But Bhima angrily disagree with their statement and recommended killing. One side Draupadi and one side Bhima. This put Arjuna in a confusion. What to do? He looked at Lord Krishna. Take a shelter. Both side argument are some exchange right. He support both. Lord Krishna smiled. And when Lord Krishna smile, that means Lord Krishna has a plan. And Lord Krishna say, you have to respect Draupadi and also Bhima. You have to kill and not to kill too. That indicate to Arjuna to select compromise. So without his sword, Arjuna shaved Ashwadama hair. He took the jewel from his forehead. This was as good as cutting Ashwadama head, leaving him without wealth and residence, and his life was spared. This is how they punish Brahman Bandhu Ashwadhama. This is the quick summary of chapter 7, the son of Drona punished. Please forgive me for my mistake or a shortcome. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hari Bol. Hare Krishna.
Questions, comments, realizations for spontaneous Nitya and Archana?
Hats off, Prabhuji, to Nitya to do such a nice, spontaneous presentation and complete narration of the story in a very nice manner by both of them, Archana and Nitya.
Yeah. All right. So I will also quickly summarize this part of chapter 7, although future listeners should listen to Nitya's spontaneous presentation and Archana's presentation as well. You saw how Archana was very nicely saying, oh, when Krishna smiles, Krishna has a plan. So I will also briefly summarize. My presentation is not as good as Nitya's and Archana's presentation. From chapter 7, verse 12 up to end of chapter 9 is unit 3 of Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1. Unit 3 is titled Prayers of Queen Kunti and Passing Away of Bhishma Dev in Presence of Lord Krishna. So continuation of sage's inquiry on the topic of Parikshit Maharaj's birth and activities goes on here, because the sages know that this will lead to Krishna Katha, because Krishna is always with his devotees. Ashwatthama killed the 5 sleeping sons of Pandavas, and Ashwatthama flees. Arjuna sets out to capture him. In fear, Ashwatthama releases his Brahmastra weapon. At this time, Arjuna first prays to Krishna. Arjuna shows us how to approach the Lord. So the 4 verses from chapter 7, verse 22 to 25 are the first mini prayers in Srimad Bhagavatam, where Arjuna praises Krishna's qualities. In 22 verse, he says, you destroy sufferings arising from material miseries. In 23, he says, you are transcendental to material energy. You are always situated in eternal bliss and transcendental knowledge. In 24, he says, you execute the 4 principles of liberation for conditioned souls. And in 25, he says, you show favoritism to your devotees. So with these first set of mini prayers in Srimad Bhagavatam, the learning for us is Arjuna is teaching us that there is a way to approach Lord Shri Krishna. So what is the standard procedure for presenting something before the Lord? First is the standard procedure for presenting anything before the personality of Godhead should be done after due presentation of respectful prayers. Glorify the Lord first. Next, ask for forgiveness and or say thank you for the darshan. Third is, next ask for spiritual benediction, to be engaged in service at his lotus feet, and there should be no material benediction request. And fourth, you glorify again, offer obeisances, offer respectful prayers. So Arjuna releases his own Brahmastra weapon, and seeing everybody is disturbed because of the heat and terrible suffering from there, then Arjuna retracts both Brahmastra because Ashwatthama did not know how to retract the Brahmastra. So at this time, Krishna is angry at Ashwatthama Krishna's pleasure and anger are at the same level because Krishna is absolute. Krishna is addressed as Ambuja Ikshana. Eyes are compared to lotus flower. That even though Krishna is angry at Ashwatthama, but Krishna's eyes are not red. Now, let us look at the list of arguments for killing Ashwatthama, because now in the camp, when Arjuna brings Ashwatthama bound and back, so there are two camps. One is wanting to kill Ashwatthama and one is not wanting to kill Ashwatthama. So first, the arguments for killing Ashwatthama, that Arjuna promised to behead the aggressor Ashwatthama. And then Krishna says, so Krishna is putting these arguments in favor of killing Ashwatthama. Krishna says he killed innocent boys in their sleep. The ruling is that an aggressor, when he is without weapon or chariot, cannot be killed. A cruel or wretched person who maintains his existence at the cost of others' lives deserves to be killed for his own well-being. Otherwise, he will go down by his own actions. He is an assassin and murderer of your own family members. And Bhima also wanted to kill Ashwatthama. Now, the list of arguments for not killing Ashwatthama, Draupadi states, she states principles of religion, that Brahmana is always a guru. Arjuna, you have received mantras from Brahmana. She talks about justice, that if person occasionally mistreats you, you should not go against this person. Sorry. Draupadi is full of mercy. Drona is alive through his son. Ashwatthama is representing his father, hence killing Ashwatthama is killing your teacher Dronacharya. Draupadi is without duplicity in dharma. That your guru's family is always respectable, always worshipable. Draupadi is full of equity. That Draupadi is equating her situation with Ashwatthama's mother, Kripi. That Draupadi cannot see Kripi cry like her own self. And Draupadi is making glorious statements from scriptures. Not like fighting, like how husband and wife fight in the material world, shouting at each other. King Yudhishthir also supported Draupadi in not killing Ashwatthama. Nakula and Sadev, Satyaki and others agreed with Yudhishthir with Yudhishthir and Draupadi to not kill Ashwatthama. So Draupadi is not an ordinary lady. Draupadi is a pure devotee. And these are the actions of a pure devotee. That devotee can tolerate all sorts of personal turbulence, but devotee cannot tolerate miseries of others. These are the characteristics of pure devotee. Pure devotees are paradukka dukhi. Plus, the wife, Draupadi, teaches her husbands with glorious statements from scriptures rather than shouting and crying. Draupadi is speaking from scriptural perspective. Now, Arjuna did not kill Ashwatthama when he captured Ashwatthama. Instead, Arjuna captured Ashwatthama and brought him in front of everyone. Why? Arjuna promised that he will kill. Arjuna is capable of killing Ashwatthama. The reason is to buy time for himself, because it is not straightforward answer whether to kill Ashwatthama or whether to not kill Ashwatthama. The arguments that we just discussed about killing Ashwatthama and not killing Ashwatthama, Arjuna knew both sides of the arguments and Arjuna could not decide. Therefore, he is buying time. Therefore, Arjuna bound Ashwatthama and brought him to the camp instead of killing him. Now, all this confusion, actually, Krishna is the one who was causing all this confusion. And we'll understand why very soon. So, Brahmat Bandhu should not be killed. And if aggressor, he should be killed. So, and Krishna says, these are principles in my scriptures. And Krishna says, Arjuna, you should fulfill your promise to Draupadi. And you should also satisfy Bhima and me, Krishna. And Krishna is also saying that I have also given you Shastra that you should also follow. So the challenge here is that it's the Brahma Bandhu who is also the aggressor. So how do you find which rule to apply? So Krishna is outwardly wanting Arjuna to kill Ashwatthama. But Krishna is actually testing Arjuna's loyalty to following religious principles and glorifying Arjuna in the process. That his devotees, his pure devotees, are always stable no matter what the circumstances. So Lord Krishna encouraged Arjuna outwardly to kill Ashwatthama just to test Arjuna's sense of duty. Lord Krishna put to test his pure devotees just to magnify their sense of duty. All pure devotees, including Arjuna, come out successful in the respective tests by the Lord. Therefore, by his sharp intelligence, Arjuna selected a compromise. Without his sword, Arjuna severed both hair and jewel from Ashwatthama's head. This was as good as cutting off his head, and yet his life was spared, and Arjuna threw out Ashwatthama out of the camp. So Krishna was causing all this confusion with a smile. Whenever Krishna smiles, it is always bewildering. And when Krishna is smiling, means Krishna has a plan. So the plan here was that outwardly he was wanting Arjuna to kill Ashwatthama, but he was glorifying his pure devotees, that the pure devotees are always stable, and Krishna is magnifying the sense of duty of his pure devotees. That's a quick summary of chapter 7 from verse 12 onwards. Questions, comments, realizations? All right, chapter 8, Nitya and then Matan Prabhu.
Seeking permission from all assembled devotees, Srila Prabhupada, Guru Parampara, and Sri Sri Radhakrishna to present Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 8, verses 1 to 17. Parikshit Maharaj said, please forgive me for any shortcomings. The battle of Kurukshetra was fought between family members. Yudhishthira and others were overwhelmed with grief at the loss of their family members. Lord Krishna was equally sympathetic towards all of them, and he began to pacify those in grief by quoting the scriptures. The stringent laws of nature under the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead cannot be altered by any living entity. Lord establishes these laws and orders called dharma, and living entities have to abide by them. In our material stage, we can never see ourselves nor the Lord for want of spiritual vision. But when we are liberated from the material affection and situated in our own true spiritual identity, we can see both ourselves and the Lord face to face. Mukti means to be reinstated in one's original spiritual identity after giving up the material conception of life. Unfortunately, under the influence of Maya, we accept this life of only a few years to be our permanent existence. And we become illusioned by possessing so-called home, land, country, children, wealth, wife, and we fight one another to protect these possessions. By cultivating spiritual knowledge, we can realize that we have nothing to do with the material paraphernalia and at once become free from all this material attachment. And the following puts and paragraphs and the summary highlights two very important, qualities. One, Lord Krishna's first quality as Bhakta Vatsala, and also the quality of his devotee. Yudhishthira was a pure devotee of the Lord, and by his grace, he was on the level of Indra, as his fame was not any less. Lord is equal to everyone, but his devotee is glorified. The sun rays are equally distributed, but there are some places which are always dark. This is not due to the sun, but the receptive power. Similarly, 10% devotees of the Lord have his full-fledged mercy. Lord Krishna prepared for his departure to Dwaraka, and as he was seated on his chariot about to begin, he saw Uttara hurrying towards him in fear. All members of the family of Pandavas were completely dependent on the Lord for his protection. The Lord protects everyone, but one completely dependent on him is especially looked after by the Lord. Uttara asks for protection for her son in the womb. She calls out to Lord Krishna, as the Lord of the Lord, Lord of the universe, you are the greatest. And she seeks protection from the clutches of death in this world of duality. The material world is composed of matter and spirit, whereas the spiritual realm is complete spirit, without any tinge of material quality. One cannot save himself from the cruel hands of death in the material world without surrendering himself at the lotus feet of the Lord. Having patiently heard her words, Lord Krishna could at once understand that Ashwatthama, the son of Dronacharya, had released the Brahmastra to finish the last life in the Pandava family. The Lord is impartial in every respect, but still inclined towards his devotees. The Pandava family was a family of devotees, and therefore Lord wanted them to rule the world. He wanted to protect Maharaj Parikshit, who was in the womb of Uttara. The Brahmastra are finer than the nuclear weapons, as it marks out its target and proceeds accordingly. Ashwatthama had released the weapon to kill the Pandavas, headed by Yudhishthira, and their only grandson lying in the womb of Uttara. Knowing all this, Lord Krishna took up his Sudarshana Chakra to protect his devotees. In Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna says that his devotees are never vanquished. Here the word Ananya Vidyatvam, Ananya Vidyatmanam is significant. Pandavas were 10% dependent on the protection of the Lord. When Lord saw there was no time for the Pandavas to counteract the Brahmastra, Lord took up his weapon, even at the risk of breaking his own vow. This highlights Lord Krishna's first quality as Bhakta Vatsala, a lover of his devotees. Lord prefers to continue as Bhakta Vatsala. He is practical. He will break his vow to protect his devotees. The Lord resides within everyone's heart, and even in the small atom by his Paramatma feature. Therefore, from within the body of Uttara, the Lord covered the embryo to save Parikshit Maharaj and protected the progeny of the Kuru dynasty. The Brahmastra weapon released by Ashwatthama was neutralized and foiled by Lord Krishna by his own energy. It could not surpass the supreme strength of the Lord. Nothing is impossible for the Supreme Lord. He's all perfect, all powerful. He's unrivaled. No one is equal or greater than him. Thus, saved from the radiation of the Brahmastra, Kunti Maharani, who is a chaste devotee of the Lord, begins to address him. A chaste devotee looks no further for help except Lord Krishna. This was the characteristic of the whole family of Pandavas. They never ask the Lord for help, but the Lord, out of his own accord, is always ready to render it. Lord reciprocates the dependence of his devotees. His mercy is available to all, but he is inclined to his devotees. Thank you.
Very good, Matan Prabhu. Matan Prabhu, unmute.
Oh, Hare Krishna. Seeking the blessings and permissions of all of you, my Shiksha Guru, His Grace Vilas Das, my spiritual master, His Grace Vaisesha Das, Srila Prabhupada, the entire Guru Parampara, and Sri Sri Radha Krishna. I would like to complete speak on Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 8, text 18 to 43. prayers by Queen Kundi is the full setup, full prayers in the Srimad Bhagavatam. These verses occur after the Kurukshetra war, when Lord Krishna is about to depart for Dwaraka. Queen Kundi, the mother of the Pandava, approaches him with deep gratitude and awe. Her prayers reveals the essence of Bhakti Yoga. Queen Kundi begins by offering obeisances to Krishna, recognizing him as the original personality beyond material nature. He is within and without all being, yet invisible to most. She reflects on this transcendental nature beyond the limited mortal material nature. I will recite the verse 21 is one of the most famous Kundi's prayers, glorifying Lord Krishna by his divine names and relationship. Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devagi Nandanaya Cha Nandagopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. So Krishnaya Vasudevaya means unto Krishna, the son of Vasudeva. Devagi Nandanaya means unto the beloved son of Devagi. Nandagopaya Kumaraya, the boy raised by Nanda Maharaya among the herdmen. Govindaya Namo Namaha. I offer repeated obeisances unto Govinda, the giver of pleasure to the senses, cows, and the land. Kundi glorifies Krishna not just as the Supreme Lord, but as a relations. Vasudeva's son means Devagi's descendant in royal Dadu. Devagi's child, fulfilling her prayer to have the Supreme Lord as her son. Nandagopa Kumara, the playful Howard boy of Vrindavana, revealing his sweet, intimate aspect. And Govinda, the son who, the one who gives the pleasure to the cows, senses, Vedas. Vasudeva's son means is the majestic Supreme Lord. And then Kundi teaches us that the Lord is realized not only through philosophy, but through the loving relationship as a son, a friend, and a protector. Then move on to the next one is the personal gratitude and the Krishna's pastime. Kundi then speaks personally, offering worship to Krishna as the son, as the one with the lotus marked feature, the master of senses, the one who has protected her family and herself from various danger, exile, battle, weapon assault. Through his mercy, she expresses sentiment that even if such calamities returned, she would accept them, because every time she sees Krishna, it means freedom from birth and death for her. I will recite the verse 22. This is one of the most famous verse, the most poetic and heartfelt expression of devotion in the entire Srimad Bhagavatam. Nama Pankaya Nabhiya, Nama Pankaya Maline, Nama Pankaya Netraya, Namaste Pankayankrehe. Now, obeisances unto the one whose navel is like a lotus, obeisances unto the one adorned with the garland of lotus, obeisances unto the one whose eyes are like lotus petals, obeisances unto you whose feet are like lotuses. The spiritual meaning is Lord. The Pangaya appears 4 times, so that means first is lotus navel, the source of creation, from which Brahma appeared. Lotus garland, his beauty and fragrance attract all hearts. Lotus eyes, filled with compassion and affection for the devotees. Lotus feet, the ultimate shelter for all souls, the call of meditation and surrender. Kundi teaches us to focus our mind on each feature of the Lord, beauty, purity, kindness, as a way to deepen the meditation. By remembering his lotus feet, our heart becomes purified and detached from material contamination. The next set of prayer is the nature of surrender and worship. Kundi states that Krishna is most approachable for those who are materially exhausted, humble seekers, not those puffed up with learning, opulence, or status. C affirms he is equal in mercy to all, pervading all, yet his pastimes are beyond human comprehension. He acts through his inactive, takes birth though unborn. So I'm going to recite verse 26. Yanma Aishwarya Suruddha Surabir Edamana Mada Puman Naivaryati Abhitadum Vai Tuam Aginchana Kocharam. One of the most philosophical, profound and heartfelt revealing verse. This is like what are the qualifications one must have to see the God? High birth, opulence, learning, and beauty. A person becomes intoxicated by false pride. Is never even able to utter the name of Krishna. For you, only approachable one who is materially exhausted and fully surrendered. So he's saying that my Lord, your Lordship can only be approached, but only by those who are materially exhausted. One who is proud of his high birth, wealth, learning, and beauty cannot sincerely address you with feeling. So Kunkindi points out the greatest barrier to devotion is the pride, born from material possessions and qualifications. So she reveals that Krishna is Akinchana Kochara, meaning accessible only to the Akinchana, those who possess nothing material. So true qualification is dependence on Krishna, not worldly privilege. The poor in spirit are the richest in devotion. So the way we can pray is, "Oh Lord, please remove my pride so that I may call upon you sincerely." Okay, next one is verse 27. That is also one of the best beautiful verse. Namo ahinchana vittaya nivritta guna vittaye Atma Ramanaya Sandaya Kaivalya Padaya Namaha. Krishna is the wealth of the humble and the Lord of the liberation. And okay, the meaning of this verse is Nama. Nama means my respectable obeisances. Ahinjana Vidya, unto the property. Nivritya Gunavritya, one who beyond the mode of material nature. Atma Ramaya, who is self-satisfied. Kaivalya Padaya Namaha, obeisances unto the Lord of liberation. My Lord, my respectable obeisances are unto you, the property of those who have nothing material to possess. You are always free from the influence of the mode of material nature. You are self-satisfied and you are the master of all liberation. So the main idea is the true wealth of the humble. When one gives up all material attachment, himself becomes their only wealth. For the Aginjana, one who owns nothing, Krishna becomes the wealth. She reveals that this verse 26 is like a pride that blocks the access to Krishna, and verse 27 points out that when we give up pride and possession, Krishna himself becomes our wealth. So this verse teaches us to pray, "O Lord, may I become your dependent, free from material attachment, and find all satisfaction in serving you." So next set of verses are concern over imminent departure and worldly dependency. Kunkundi expresses her bewilderment at Krishna's Leela power. Child Krishna, a boundless energy, his behavior beyond ordinary human measure. She voices her fear now that Krishna is about to leave for Dwaraka. Since Pandava and her own family are dependent on his protection, what will happen when he departs? Without him, their fame and existence will vanish. So here I would like to recite verse 36. Pravandi Hayandi Karnandi Abhikshanaha Sumarandi Nandandi Tavehidam Jana Ta eva Pasyandi Asirena Tavaham Bhava Pravaha Paramam Padampuyam. So this verse is how to stop repeated birth. one of the most sweetly devotional and practical verse. She reveals the process of realizing Krishna by hearing, chanting, remembering, and rejoicing in his pastimes. Oh my Lord, those who constantly hear about you, chant about you, speak about you, and remember your activities, and who take pleasure in doing so, certainly see your lotus feet, which alone can stop the cycle of birth and death. Kunkundi reveals the secret of liberation, not by renunciation or austerity, but by joyful engagement in hearing, chanting, and remembering Krishna. Such devotion naturally brings us to his lotus feet, where all fear will end. So next set of verses is that cutting attachment and redirection the devotion. Kunkundi that praise that her personal affiliation, especially her affection for kinsman Pandava and her father's family Vrishini, we serve her so that her love may be uninterrupted to Krishna alone. She uses the metaphor, Kanchi is flowing freely to the ocean. Let my attraction be constantly wound unto you without being diverted to anyone else. So finally, she is saying that verse 43, in the culmination, she is offering a grand summary of Krishna's attribute. He is the friend of Arjuna, chief of the Vrishni dynasty. He destroys the entrenched political dynasties that disturb Dharma. His strength never wanes. He owns a transcendental abode, descends to relieve the distress of cows, brahmanas, and devotees. He possesses all mystic power. He is the of the Guru of the universe, the Almighty. She bows to him with deep reverence. Yeah, that summarizes the prayers of Kunkundi. Please forgive me for any shortcomings and any mistakes. Hare Krishna.
Super excellent. Any questions, comments, realizations for the presenters?
Prabhuji, I really enjoyed the recitation of verses, especially the verse of the second verse that he recited. We were using that during the Rath Yatra, kitchen service. That time we were reciting that when you were asking us to recite Namo Pankaj Nabhaya, Namo Pankaj Maline, Namo Pankaj Netraya, Namaste Pankaj. So I really enjoyed that. Thank you.
Yeah, very good. Correct point. I was having goosebumps while Matan Prabhu was reciting these beautiful verses. Very good.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
And very, very nice. Prakya also remembers and recites the verse spontaneously as well. All right, let me also quickly summarize chapter 8, although the presenters have again done a very good presentation. So chapter 8 is titled Prayers of Queen Kunti and Parikshit Maharaj Saved. Krishna is ready to leave for Dwarka, but then Uttara comes running to him. Uttara says, "You are God of gods. No one except you can give me protection." Uttara is not worried about her own protection. Hence, she is saying, "Let the Brahmastra burn me, but please save my child." Upon removal from the camp, Ashwatthama became angry and again released another Brahmastra. So Krishna is Bhaktavatsal, very affectionate to devotees. Krishna had taken a vow not to pick up weapons, but Krishna picked up his Sudarshan Chakra because Krishna is very practical. He is not stuck with a vow. He does not want to remain just as a moral person who never breaks his vow. Rather, he wants to be known as Bhaktavatsal. The Lord saw that there was no time for Pandavas to counteract the Brahmastra of Ashwatthama. Hence, the Lord took up his weapon even against his vow of not picking up weapon in the battle, because the emergency was more important than the vow. This way, Krishna protected Parikshit Maharaj. Kunti Maharani could see personally how Krishna protected her sons and grandson. Kunti was overwhelmed seeing the majestic power of Krishna. Hence, Kunti Maharani starts offering prayers. These Kunti Maharani prayers are the first set of full prayers in Srimad Bhagavatam, and rest of Srimad Bhagavatam is similarly prayers after prayers after prayers after prayers. Krishna is playing the part of a nephew of Queen Kunti, and so as to not put Krishna in an awkward position that why is Kunti Maharani as an aunt offering obeisances and prayers to Krishna? So Kunti Maharani says, Kunti Maharani says, you are not ordinary. You are Purusha, Ishwaram, controlling nature. She says, Prakriti Param. But you are invisible to those who are not your devotees because of rebellious nature. Cannot understand Krishna by my contaminated senses. The analogy is explained that father is acting in a drama. Mother can recognize, but a baby sitting in the audience cannot recognize that the father is in the drama. Similarly, devotees have no problem to understand Krishna as a child could kill Putana, lift Govardhan, etc. But those who are attached to body do not know Krishna. They cannot understand such superhuman activities of Krishna. And similarly, so as to not put Krishna in an awkward position, because Kunti Maharani is the aunt of Krishna. Therefore, in her prayers, instead of first describing Krishna's lotus feet first, Kunti Maharani starts using the word lotus in various ways and then focuses on the lotus feet, because for a pure devotee, there is nothing beyond Krishna's lotus feet. So many of these prayers of Kunti Maharani are very, very beautiful to recite. For example, how Matan Prabhu recited few, 1.8.21, 22, there are many other, 25, 26, 27, around 40, 41. They are very beautiful prayers. I will recite 1.8.22. Nama Pankaja Nabaye, Nama Pankaja Maline, Nama Pankaja Netraye, Namaste Pankajagrahe. That she starts comparing the lotus to various parts of Krishna's body, but then comes to glorifying the lotus feet of the Lord. In her prayers, Kunti Maharani describes lot of qualities of Krishna. First is Param Purusha, Ishwara. Kunti offers obeisances because Krishna is original Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is not affected by Prakriti. Prakriti works under his supervision, as is explained in Bhagavad Gita 9.10. Maya Adhyakshena Prakriti. He is the supreme controller. Next quality is Atmaram. As Atmaram, he does not need anything. He only reciprocates love with his devotees. Third is Bhaktavatsal. We already discussed the Bhaktavatsal quality. That Krishna is very practical. He does not want to remain as a moral person who does not break a vow. Rather, he wants to be known as Bhaktavatsal, that he is very affectionate to his devotees. Lord is impartial to all. Still, he is inclined to his devotees. Now, this is not a fault. Actually, Bhaktavatsal is Krishna's very great quality. There are many examples showing how Krishna is Bhaktavatsal. Fourth quality is Akinchana Gocharam. That Krishna is very easily approachable by Akinchana Gocharam. That those who are materially exhausted, material advancements are disqualifications for spiritual advancement because people get puffed up with their material opulences. Hence, they cannot utter the holy name with feelings. But helpless person, akinchana, can utter the holy name with feelings. Fifth quality is akinchana vittaya. Krishna is akinchana vittaya, meaning devotee becomes the property of Krishna. Devotee does not consider anything material can protect him. Then devotee becomes the property of Krishna, and becoming property of Krishna means Krishna will take care. Krishna will protect devotee just as we protect our material assets. Sixth is eternal time and samam charatam. Krishna is eternal time without beginning, without end, and is all pervasive. Opportunity for devotional service is open to all. Lord is never partial for this. Partiality and impartiality are not on Lord's mercy, but is on the part of devotee, that no one told you not to go to the Lord. The seventh quality, I'm pretty sure everybody has experienced that bewildering quality. Krishna acts in a way that bewilders everyone. Krishna makes his devotee forget that he is Supreme Personality of Godhead, so that loving exchange can be performed in a natural way. Just as Mother Yashoda could bind Krishna, as we can see on the screen also right now in this auspicious Damodar month. And seeing Mother Yashoda bind Krishna, Kunti was also bewildered and could only praise this wonderful quality of Mother Yashoda being in the higher position. Therefore, Mother Yashoda is able to bind Krishna. Lord is understood by those whom he chooses because they are intimately related to him. Eighth quality is feared by fear personified. Krishna is feared by fear personified. But Krishna is afraid of his pure devotees. Look at on the screen how Krishna is crying. We also heard in the Damodarashtakam today that he was weeping. It's natural weeping. He's not artificially doing it. He's naturally weeping. So Krishna is afraid of his pure devotee, Mother Yashoda. This is a quality and is also bewildering. And then Krishna is meticulously pleased. Generally, Lord is worshipped by devotees in reverential attitude, but Lord is meticulously pleased when out of pure love and devotion, devotee considers the Lord to be less important than him. Krishna reciprocates love with his pure devotees. Krishna renounces his supremacy so that love can be supreme. Queen Kunti is remembering she was shown far more favor by Krishna compared to Krishna's mother, Mother Devaki, because Kunti Maharani was alone while Devaki's husband was there. Krishna is more merciful than Lord Ram because Krishna is more approachable. Queen Kunti summarizes material existence in 3 words: avidya kama karma bhi. Even though there are different explanations and different reasons for Krishna's appearance, the real reason for Krishna's appearance is to destroy ignorance and regenerate devotional service. The height of Kunti Maharani's prayers, which is at pure devotional level, is in 1.8.25. She says, let all those dangers, calamities happen again and again, so that we may remember you again and again, because by remembering you, Krishna, we will not come back to this miserable material world. She's saying all these dangers are actually blessing to me. She says, Vipada Santu Ta Shashvat Tatra Tratta Jagat Guru Bhavato Darshanam Yat Sayat Apunar Bhava Darshanam. Calamities will always be there in this material world. With all the difficulties, Kunti and Pandavas came closer to Krishna. They were surrendering more and more to Krishna. Devotees take opportunity to come closer to Krishna at every moment. And Kunti Maharani is praying to cut attachments from both Pandavas and Vrishnis. And Srila Prabhupada explains in the purport that to cut off family affection means to broaden Krishna conscious activities, meaning increase relationship at the level of soul. The benediction Kunti Maharani is asking that let my consciousness flow to you, just as the river Ganga naturally flows to the sea. The last part of chapter 8 describes Yudhishthir's lamentation. Yudhishthir is in grief, great pain from Kurukshetra war. Yudhishthir is thinking, I was not the king, Duryodhan was the king. Yudhishthir is saying Duryodhan was ruling properly and I created the trouble of fighting. Therefore, I am the cause of all the killing because of my personal gain of wanting the kingdom. Killing was for my self-motive. Yudhishthir saying, I was not king, hence fight was not for administration, but for my self-aggrandizement. Because I, Yudhishthir, wanted to be king. Hence my heart is filled with ignorance. This is the nature of a pure devotee. Great rishis were citing scriptures and saying, Yudhishthir, you are not at fault. This is Lord's plan. But they could not console Yudhishthir. Even Krishna could not console Yudhishthir. Because again, this was the Lord's plan. This is why again Krishna was smiling. Krishna wanted Bhishma Dev, his pure devotee, to console Yudhishthir. This way, Krishna planned to take Yudhishthir to Bhishma Dev to satisfy Bhishma Dev's desire to see Krishna while leaving the body, plus additional satisfaction for Bhishma Dev to see his beloved grandchildren on the throne. That's a quick summary of chapter 8. Questions, comments, realizations?
Prabhu, your summary was so beautiful, Prabhu. I was in a trance. It was really beautiful. Thank you so much.
Thank you for listening with rapt attention. All glories are always for Guru Maharaj and Srila Prabhupada. All right. Chapter 9, well, last part of chapter 8 and straddling into chapter 9, Shivangi and Divya will start.
Thank you, Prabhuji. There might be a slight overlap, but we'll continue. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. We are seeking permission and blessings from all of you, Srila Prabhupada, Shri Guru Parampara, as well as Shri Shri Radha Krishna to offer this summary of Canto 1, Chapter 8, verses 44 to 52, and Chapter 9, verses 1 to 11. Chapter 8 is titled Prayers by Queen Kunti and Parikshit Saved, and Chapter 9 is titled The Passing Away of Bhishma Deva in the Presence of Lord Krishna. Please forgive us for our shortcomings and mistakes. We will begin this presentation by going over the last part of Chapter 8, where we see Yudhishthir's lamentation following the events of the Battle of Kurukshetra. Sridhar Goswami said that the Lord heard the prayers of Queen Kunti and smiled. That smile was as enchanting as his mystic power. Anything that is enchanting in this world is said to be a representation of the Lord, and while the conditioned souls try to lord it over the material world, being enchanted by his mystic powers, the devotees express their enchantment in a more direct way by glorifying him. Thus accepting the prayers of Srimati Kunti Devi, the Lord began to depart, however, was stopped by King Yudhishthira at the last moment, who implored him lovingly. The king, who was much aggrieved, could not be convinced, despite instructions by great sages and the Lord himself in the aftermath of the Kurukshetra war. Being a pious devotee, he naturally felt that the mass killing in the war was too heavy a price to pay simply for his enthronement. He began to reason that Duryodhana's administration had been peaceful after all, and there was no need to take the throne at the expense of many innocent lives. The Lord, as a supersoul, made it so that he could not be convinced by himself or great sages like Vyasa, thus creating a situation for his other beloved devotee, Bhishma Deva, to pacify Yudhishthir's heart, to glorify him also. By the Lord's will, Yudhishthira became deluded like a common man. Just as Arjuna was deluded on the battlefield to receive the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord prepared Yudhishthira to receive Bhishma Deva's instructions. He goes on to lament as he becomes sorry for that temporary body, which is meant solely for the service of others, a huge massacre was committed in the war. It was simply horrible for Yudhishthira to think of such killings, and therefore he was thinking of residing in hell for millions and billions of years. Again, he kept reasoning that the killing was not for the right purpose, but for his self aggrandizement, feeling himself to be responsible for all sins. He thinks of the chain reactions and consequences of the massacre, where many fathers, sons, brothers were killed. In this way, he began to think that even the performance of thousands of Ashwamedha yajnas could not relieve or counteract these reactions. The conclusion of chapter 8 leaves us with a poignant message. It is not possible to counteract the killing or act of killing living entities by any kind of sacrifice, including Harinama Sankirtan. Those who are devotees do not carelessly and continuously commit sins with the intention of purifying themselves through the chanting process.
In chapter 9, we see how Bhishma Deva welcomes everyone while on his deathbed. Bhishma Dev, who was lying on the bed of arrows on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, he had the power to determine when he would leave his material body. Many people, including the royal family members, great rishis and deva rishis, learned brahmanas, etc., assembled there to pay their last respects to the great warrior and enlightened soul. They arrived with their full and opulent entourages, so Bhishmadev could see a happy scene at the time of his passing. The Pandavas and Lord Krishna bowed down to Bhishmadev to pay their respects. The Lord followed these human customs and behaved as a younger family member greeting an elder, even though he is in the supreme position. Bhishmadev received everyone respectfully, with sweet and eloquent speech, as his mind was sound, even though he was physically unfit. He is one of the 12 great authorities in preaching about devotional service and religious principles. All preachers who aspire to become expert at their work must know how to adjust things according to the time and place. Bhishmadev knew that Lord Krishna in front of him was the all-pervading Supreme Lord. Therefore, he worshipped him fully. He then congratulated the Pandavas with tears of ecstasy in his eyes, overwhelmed by love and affection to see them being enthroned rightfully after suffering so many trials and tribulations. This concludes the summary. Thank you all for listening. Hare Krishna.
Mayank Prabhu is next.
Hare Krishna. Seeking permissions from devotees, Srila Prabhupada, Sri Guru Parampara, and Sri Sri Radha Krishna, please forgive me for any shortcomings. I'll be presenting on Canto 1, Chapter 9 from text 12 to 28. So the first part of the text from 12 to 22, Bhishmadev pacifies Pandavas. Bhishmadev tells Yudhishthir that Kurukshetra was fought to stop injustice, so sorrow over the result shouldn't rule him. Throughout, the Pandavas stood under three protections: guidance from bona fide Brahmanas and Vaishnavas, the Lord's shelter, and strict religious conduct. When a person moves with the Lord's will under such guidance, despondency has no rightful place. He points to Kunti's life, early widowed, many children, and renewed trials later, to show that providence can place real difficulty on a righteous path. Such burdens must be tolerated without inner agitation. He explains Kala. It governs everyone and everything as the Lord's powerful representative within the material world. Even the forces that move the world operate under time. These reverses are not simply payback for the past sins. Even the pious must bear material conditions, and no one, even Brahma, stands above time. Hence, the Pandavas, Parok's great warriors, a king who embodied religion, and Krishna as direct well-wisher, yet many setbacks. That is time expressing the Lord's will beyond human control. Therefore, there is nothing to lament when matters pass out of human hands. No one fully knows the Lord's plan. Even exhaustive inquiry meets its limit. The sound policy is to accept his order and act. The Pandavas' hardship was temporary and meant to establish virtue, which is why even Bhishma, though mighty, could not prevail on the wrong side. From this foundation, he urges Yudhishthira to assume rule without hesitation and protect the people now left helpless. The Lord often teaches the world by teaching his devotee. Therefore, a devotee accepts tribulations as purifying favor that loosens false attachments and deepen devotion. Bhishmadev then identifies Krishna as the inconceivable original personality of Godhead, the first Narayana and source of all Vishnu Tattva expansions. Baladeva, Sankarsana, Pradyumna, Aniruddha, Vasudeva, also Narayana, Purusa, Rama, Narsimha. His moving among humans is another display of his energy. Confusion about him arises because his internal and external energies act upon living beings who are his marginal energy, sometimes drawn towards devotion by the internal potency, sometimes covered by the external. By the Lord's mercy, great authorities such as Shiva, Narada, and Kapila are not bewildered. He clarifies Krishna's dealing with the Pandavas, though serving as cousin, friend, counselor, messenger, and even charioteer, he remained the absolute. Because he is absolute, nothing is separate from him. His energies pervade everything, and as Paramatma, he is already present in everyone's heart as supreme guide. Thus, taking the reins for Arjuna does not lessen his position. Free from false ego, he acts without material fault, equibalanced, equal to all. Yet he is especially inclined to the unflinching devotee who accepts no other protector. For that reason, he personally appeared to Bhishmadev at life's end. The attraction was on the level of the soul. The safe path to such bond is to approach the Lord through recognized devotees who can guide without distortion. Part 2. Bhishmadev glorifies Krishna's position as the Supreme Lord. Bhishmadev describes Bhakti Yoga as concentrated remembrance and chanting that fills the mind with the Lord through ninefold service: hearing, chanting, remembering, worshipping, praying, voluntary service, carrying out his orders, befriending him, and offering one's possession. Such devotion is true yoga and is recognized by the Lord as the best, enabling the devotee to fix the mind on him and at life's end be carried by his internal energy to an external realm beyond material miseries. Devotion does not kill desire, it redirects it to the proper object, qualifying one for the spiritual sky. Blessed with the Lord present before him, Bhishmadev prays that he remain in view as he departs, desiring to behold the smiling four-handed form with lotus face and reddish eyes, the Narayana form he worshipped, knowing it to be a plenary expansion of Krishna. Though assured of Vaikuntha and able to choose his time of death, he asks only this: let his mind be absorbed in the Lord's form and feet, accepting wherever the Lord may send him continuous remembrance over any claim of destination. The final part, Krishna instructions to Yudhishthira. Prompted by Krishna, Yudhishthira asks Bhismadev before assembled sages about the essence of religious duty, showing the Lord's wish to glorify his devotee. Even on a bed of arrows, a pure devotee remains fit to teach. Bhismadev defines social orders and life stages by qualities and duties, then explains two paths: detachment that counters bondage and regulated engagement that elevates through duty. The aim of Varnashram is knowledge of one's real identity and the detachment needed to finish life successfully. He lists 9 basic civic qualities: no anger or falsehood, fair sharing, forgiveness, faithful family life, purity, non enmity, simplicity, and care for dependents, and outlines duties for learned men, rulers, merchants, and workers with higher class responsible for the workers' welfare. He further treats charity, kingship, and salvation. Householders should give generously, offering result to the Lord. Raj Dharma is to protect, uplift, and guide toward liberation with simple, just taxation and qualified leadership. For salvation, one must conquer lust, anger, greed, and confusion by practical means. He notes women as the powerful inspirers whose strength is regulated by modesty, and he closes with simple ways to please the Lord by installing the deity at home, serving the devotees, hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, reciting in holy places, and chanting the holy names while illustrating duties with instructive histories to ground the principle in practice. Uh, I conclude my presentation, Hare Krishna.
Super excellent. Okay.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees, I am seeking permission from you all, Srila Prabhupada and all gurus in the disciplic succession, and Sri Radhakrishna. I will try to summarize Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 9, verses 29 to 49. Please forgive me for the shortcomings. Chapter 8 ended with King Yudhishthir blaming himself for Kurukshetra war. Lord Shri Krishna pacifies Yudhishthir to go to Bhishma Pitama. We discussed in chapter 9 so far about Yudhishthir's lamentation, about Bhishma Dev's welcoming everyone, that Bhishma Dev pacifies Pandavas, Bhishma Dev glorifies Krishna's position as the Supreme Lord, and Bhishma Dev gives instructions to Yudhishthir. We will now discuss the last two sections of Canto 1, Chapter 9, titled The Passing Away of Bhishma Dev in Presence of Lord Krishna. These two sections discuss Bhishma Dev's final moments and prayers and honoring Bhishma Dev's departure. When Bhishma Dev was describing occupational duties, the sun's course ran into the northern hemisphere. This is the period when perfect yogis can leave the material body at their own will and go to the planet desired by them. The setting of time or kal was opportune for Bhishma Dev as he prepared to quit his body before Lord Sri Krishna, the pious Pandavas, and the great sages. He withdrew his mind from everything else and fixed his eyes upon the original personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. With this, he was at once relieved of all bodily pains caused by the arrow wounds. The discussion of Bhishma Dev's transcendental prayers in this chapter is just mesmerizing. Bhishma Dev prays for investing his thinking, feeling, and willing in Lord Sri Krishna, whose transcendental body attracts everyone in the three planetary systems, upper, middle, and lower. Bhishma Dev keeps Sri Krishna as the object of his attraction and prays for freedom from fruitive results. In his prayers, Bhishma Dev repents shooting arrows at the Lord. But factually, Lord's body was not at all pained. Sri Krishna only has a transcendental existence. Both the Lord himself and his body has complete spiritual identity. Spirit is never pierced, burnt, dried, moistened, etc. This is vividly explained in the Bhagavad Gita's verse 2.23. Nainam chindanti shastrani, nainam dahati pavakaha, na chainam kledyantyapur, na shoshayati maruta. So in his prayers, Bhishma Dev is actually praising different forms and qualities of Lord Sri Krishna. He prays that his mind go unto such Lord Krishna who is benevolent. He prays that his mind stays in that Sri Krishna who shortened the lifespans of enemies simply by his merciful glance. All those who saw him on the battlefield of Kurukshetra attained their original forms after death. Bhishma Dev prays his focus to be on that Sri Krishna who eradicated Arjun's ignorance by delivering transcendental knowledge in the battlefield. Bhishma Dev prayed to always remain attracted to his lotus feet and keep Lord Krishna as his ultimate destination. Bhishma Dev prayed for his ultimate attraction to be Sri Krishna, whose motions and smiles of love attracted the damsels of Vrijadhama, the gopis. Bhishma Dev desired that his mind may focus on the Lord Sri Krishna, who was the most exalted personality of Godhead and worshipped by all elite men of the world at the Rajasuya Yajna performed by Maharaj Yudhishthir. Vishnudev meditates with full concentration upon that one Lord Sri Krishna who was now present before him. Thereafter, Vishnudev merged himself in the Supersoul, Lord Sri Krishna. How did he merge with the Supersoul? It is described that he merged himself with his mind that was fully absorbed in Sri Krishna. He merged himself with his speech because he was constantly talking about Sri Krishna. And he merged himself with his sight as he was constantly looking at Sri Krishna. And he also merged himself with his actions as he completely stopped all activities. Then he became silent and his breathing stopped. Bhishmadev merged into the unlimited eternity of the Supreme Absolute. Knowing this, all present there became silent, like birds at the end of the day. Bhishmadev was a Mahajan, and he was on the level of Brahma, Narad, and Shiva. Even though he was a human being, Bhishmadev's departure was honored by sounding of drums by Dev and Manav, men and demigods, by royal demonstrations of honor and respect, and showers of flowers fell from the sky. Funeral rituals for the material body of Bhishmadev were performed respectfully. All the great sages glorified Lord Sri Krishna, who was present there, by confidential Vedic hymns. Maharaj Yudhishthir was momentarily overtaken with grief, but he was conscious of his duties. He went to Hastinapur accompanied by Lord Sri Krishna and consoled his uncle Dhritarashtra and Gandhari, who were already in agony for loss of their sons and grandsons, and the news of demise of Bhishmadev would have given them another great shock. So Maharaj Yudhishthir was conscious of their pain, and therefore he went to console them. Thereafter, the great religious king, Maharaj Yudhishthir, executed the royal power in the kingdom strictly according to the codes of royal principles approved by his uncle and confirmed by Lord Sri Krishna. So this was the chapter, and what are the key takeaways from this chapter? First, the chapter tells us about the magnanimity of Yudhishthir Maharaj, the great Yudhishthir Maharaj who knew the principles and nuances of dharma, who never violated any dharmic principles, who saved the lives of his brothers time and again, and who never spoke lie. The great Yudhishthir Maharaj, who was chosen by Sri Krishna to be the king, is putting himself in a subordinate position and seeking guidance of the superiors as to what to do. We should take this as a learning to seek guidance of our gurus when we have major decisions to take. Second takeaway, in my view, is that Bhishma Dev's conduct during the last phase of his life gives us many, many lessons. Bhishma Pitama, who was a great warrior, was invincible. No one could defeat him. He was student of Parshuram and Brihaspati. Great sages came to see him for his final departure. He was in deep pain with his body pierced with arrows and having suffered entire blood loss. Yet, being a Kshatriya, he extended hospitality and gave respect to each and every sage who came to see him. He spoke sweet words. When we are in pain, we can't think of anything other than the pain and about talking to anyone else. We may only actually get angry, but Bhishma Dev's conduct, even when he was in pain, is a great lesson for all of us. Pandavas were gloomy for the current situation of Bhishma Dev. And Bhishma Dev, who was in the current situation due to the very same Pandavas whom he supported all his life, pacifies the Pandavas not to be gloomy. The person in pain is pacifying the person who caused the pain to him. So it's a very big lesson. Another thing we learn from Bhishma Dev is that the nature of bhakti is such that it does not depend on any material condition. Bhishma Dev, despite suffering from excruciating pain and being in a precarious condition, did not give up and spoke to Yudhishthira Maharaj as desired by Sri Krishna. Srila Prabhupada also, despite being 70 years of age and despite suffering multiple heart attacks, traveled all over the world, printing books and inspiring the hearts of Vaishnavas. So these are such great learnings for all of us devotees. And finally, we learn from Bhishma Pitama that our desires, what our desires should be during the end of life. We should desire to remember Sri Krishna during the end of our life. And since we do not know when the end of life will come, we should chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra, be in association with devotees, and remember Sri Krishna's lotus feet in every moment of our life. Thank you so much, Hari Bol. Jai Shri Krishna.
For excellent questions, comments, realizations for the presenters.
Prabhu, the presentations were excellent, and Pragya's summary at the end of it was Really outstanding. Thank you.
Yeah. But yeah, having good realizations, correlating with Bhagavad Gita, reciting verses. Mayank Prabhu also very good presentation of listening to previous and speaking in his own words. It's very nice. Shivangi Divya have anyway perfected the presentations like rest of you as well. Okay, let me also quickly summarize. Chapter 9 is titled Passing Away of Bhishma Dev in Presence of Lord Krishna. Yudhishthir was feeling guilty, hence Yudhishthir wanted to know what is his duty. Krishna's plan to not let Yudhishthir be convinced by anyone, including not be convinced by Krishna also, is that Krishna wanted to bring Yudhishthir to Bhishma Dev so that Yudhishthir can hear religious principles directly from Bhishma Dev, as well as to satisfy Bhishma Dev's desire to see Krishna while leaving body. Bhishma Dev is perfect Dharma Purusha. Everyone is inclined to listen to religious principles from him. Bhishma Dev is pierced with arrows, hence he could not welcome everyone normally, how one welcomes. Hence Bhishma Dev welcomed everyone by talking sweet words. Experts know how to adjust according to time, place, and circumstances. And this point, how to welcome a saintly people, is also described in Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, later part of Canto 4. So Bhishma Dev pacifies Pandavas and explains that all sufferings of Pandavas happened because of control of inevitable time. Time is the inexplicable wish of the Lord. Hence, nothing to lament about because it's beyond control of human beings. Since time immemorial, no one can ascertain the real plan of the Lord. Bhishma Dev is saying to Yudhishthir, you have become king. This is Krishna's desire, hence Yudhishthir, you should just follow Krishna's desire. Bhishma Dev gives talks on religious principles for Varnashram, charity, and duty of each Varna and Ashram. Bhishma Dev is lying on the bed of arrows, but still spoke on religious principles even when there were many other sages present, because Krishna wanted to prove that his pure devotees are always sound in body and mind by dint of spiritual elevation. Bhishma Dev starts to offer prayers to Krishna, and in each of his prayers, Bhishma Dev is asking for rati, attachment. These Bhishma Dev prayers are very beautiful prayers and among my favorite prayers as well. He says, I am leaving my body, my Lord has come. What can I give him? Therefore, Bhishma Dev offers his mind to Krishna. By fixing his mind on Krishna, Bhishma Dev was completely free from sense desire and mind was completely purified. Bhishma Dev is thinking of Krishna's beauty on the battlefield, the Parthasarthi form. Bhishma Dev calls Krishna as Vijay Sakhe, unto the friend of Arjuna. Bhishma Dev's throwing of sharp arrows at the transcendental body of the Lord is as good as worship of another devotee who offers soft roses to the Lord. The Lord enjoyed the wounds created by his great devotee Bhishma Dev And because Bhishma Dev is a devotee in the chivalrous relation, he fixes up his mind on Krishna in that wounded condition. The beautiful Parthasarthi form. Krishna was taking pleasure when his devotee was piercing him with arrows. Actually, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has given this example that when a lover kisses the opposite lover, sometimes there is blood coming out. Still, it is pleasing. The lover does not complain because it is relishing. This is how Krishna was relishing the arrows of Bhishma Dev. Bhishma Dev, remembering Krishna driving the chariot of Arjuna, the color of Krishna's hair turned grey because of the dust particles. Bhishma Dev, remembering Krishna's this Parthasarthi form. Result has been that Bhishma Dev attained the Loka in the spiritual world where Parthasarthi form of Krishna is eternally present, and Bhishma Dev is the direct servant of this Parthasarthi form. Krishna eradicated Arjuna's ignorance by Bhagavad Gita knowledge. Bhishma Dev, remembering this, and continues to ask for rati, attachment to Krishna's lotus feet. Bhishma Dev glorifying Krishna, or Krishna showing affection towards Bhishma Dev, says, fulfilling my desire and sacrificing his own promise, he took up a wheel and ran towards me just as a lion runs to kill an elephant. Srila Prabhupada explains in a lecture that Krishna actually did not break his promise. Krishna did not accept any weapon. Krishna simply showed Bhishma that I have come to kill you with this wheel of a chariot. Krishna's Sudarshan Chakra is different. These are reciprocations. Krishna can do anything for his devotee. The Lord was so angry that in spite of Arjuna's checking, Krishna proceeded towards Bhishma Dev just as a lover goes to another lover, without caring for hindrances. Krishna's apparent determination was to kill Bhishma Dev, but factually it was to please Bhishma Dev as a great devotee of the Lord. Bhishma Dev is saying, actually, Krishna wanted to satisfy my desire. Hence, Krishna broke his promise. Then Bhishma Dev says, Vijay Rata Kutumba. That Arjuna's chariot, the chariot horses, all are Krishna's Kutumb, Krishna's relatives. Krishna is very much conscious to protect Arjuna's chariot. The chariot horses are not hurt. Bhishma Dev glorifies the love of gopis also. Bhishma remembering gopis to have their mercy at the time of death. Bhishma Dev understands that Lord satisfied more when his pure devotees are glorified. This is for me as a sadhaka to understand. And Bhishma Dev says, Krishna must be worshipped by all. And Bhishma Dev says, now I am free of duality. Vijay Sakhe Rati Rastume. This is a quick summary of chapter 9. Questions, comments, realizations. All right. I was also sensing Pragya was also in ecstasy while she was doing her presentation for these beautiful Bhishma Dev prayers. All right. So next week we will revise Unit 4. Now I see all spots are filled. Pragya populated the last available spot. So I request all of you to also please choose the selection for Unit 5. There are still a lot of empty spots. Please do so as soon as you can, please. Any questions, comments, realizations? We'll stop here. Hare Krishna, everybody.
Hare Krishna, everybody.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji.